Have you been trying to find the right time to level up your professional dog trainer skills, knowledge, and certification? No matter where you are on your journey, the Victoria Stilwell Academy's dog trainer course is here to help you chase your dreams as a professional dog trainer. Just visit VSDTA.com to get in touch, enroll in a free course, or apply now. That's VSDTA.com. Again, go to VSDTA.com to learn more now. Oh, the reason why I'm laughing is because my next guest just makes me laugh. You'll see him now and again pop up at the Dog Academy or the Bad Dog Academy on Channel 4. His name is Shane Hartshorn, and he has been a VSPDT for many years. He owns a wonderful dog training business in the Leicestershire area called Canine Education. He is a wonderful person, and he's here to speak to us today about all things dog. Welcome, Shane, to the podcast.
Hello, Victoria.
Hey, you're here. I'm so glad.
Finally.
The reason why I was laughing when we came on here before we started recording is because Shane, when he came onto the Dog Academy, really was like, where's the makeup artist? And I'm like,
wardrobe? Where's the wardrobe?
What makeup artist?
I have to dress myself.
And, we do get a wardrobe, but obviously, yes, we dress ourselves. But there's a reason why when I watch the show and I look at my makeup and like how maybe my eyeliner is too thick or because we do our own makeup. And to be quite honest, I don't have time to double check everything is perfect and looks great. Doing a show like this, which is exhausting anyway, and having to kind of manage your own makeup so you don't look like a mess, well, sometimes it just fails miserably, Shane.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all I was doing was looking for the oil papers. Blot, 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 blot. Quick, get rid of that shine. Get rid of that shine.
And isn't it sweaty? I mean, sometimes it was actually quite hot when we were filming. And then we're wearing these green shirts, which after a while, I mean, we have a number of shirts, but my green shirt, it didn't matter how much you pressed it. I don't have to do that, thank goodness. But how much you press it or how much it is or dry cleaned, it just looked like somebody had sat on it and had rumpled it up and then was like, okay, wear this. Because it was just that material. And because it's dark as well, it's that kind of color green where if you sweat, it shows it. So, I spent most of that filming literally going, it is what it is. It's millions of people going to see this. It is what it is.
I was online. I was trying to find that, the sweat busters and, stop sweat and all this sorts of stuff, but yeah, absolutely. When you literally walked up to the clothes rail, took the clothes off, went into the bathroom, got changed, came out, you were creased.
You were creased, exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, okay, so the first series, we just have one small green room, which has a little kitchenette and a seating area. And then there's this bathroom that has a glass, half of it's a glass door. And it's okay, which is sort of muted, but not. You can see what's going on there. Not completely, but you can see basically most of it. And so that's what we had to change in. And I'm like, Series 2, no. There was a room above. And I was like, for us girls, Joe, Amy, and myself, we're going to be up. Can we? Because that was previously the contributors' room that they would take them up to. But we were like, please, can us girls have our own separate room to change in? And can we have our own separate bathroom? And we did. And then, of course, the boys were saying how fancy we were. But, I mean, come on, Shane, you saw that room. You saw the green room. You saw what it was like.
Oh yeah, I mean, we had that little green room. You had this huge palace upstairs. It was massive, you know. Yeah, no. As I say, half the time you were trying to get Grimmy out of the way of the clothes rails or out of the way of the kitchen. So you know, that's how spacious the green room was.
When I had the trainers, when I had Sean and Kamal and Joe on here, they were talking about Grimmy's diet and how, like, when the first series, you know, we just had terrible food, as in like Kit Kats and everything were there. Not that, I mean, it's my favorite food, right? But it's food that's not so great for you. But then when Grimmy came on, the food got much better. And he had all of these really healthy stuff and these healthy shakes, and we're all like still stuffing chocolate bars. Oh gosh. Anyway, look.
I honestly thought it was a joke that day when he went, "Yeah, I'll try one of these." I'm like, okay. Well, I was honestly waiting to turn around for everybody to be stood there laughing because it was absolutely, well,
Yeah.
grim.
The grimy
It was
green
thick
stuff.
block. Yeah.
It was just not nice. But you know what? I mean, he's a fit and healthy fellow. And but okay, so let's just start off with your experience. We in the second series, obviously, we have less trainers, which meant that we really, for example, for Joe and I, who didn't have anybody to work with, we really relied on our support trainers, and you're great trainers all in your own right, Adam, you and Amy, but we needed support trainers to handle the dogs, to be, you know, handle the lead when we were doing other stuff, and also to be a sounding board, and so you stepped into that role. What was it like for you?
Well. First day was, let me put it this way, it was a little bit of a shocker. Again, I sat in that green room and I just literally, I could not believe what was going off. It was just absolute mayhem. But no, yeah, looking after the dogs every day, it was great. There was just such a variety coming in. But yeah, we just got, you know, given the dogs, you got handed the dogs, take them to look after, you know, while people are in the interview. You can work with them, go and sit in the shade on a couple of the days. But yeah, it was it was just so much fun. That's the main thing with the dogs. You know, it was just such a variety.
Yeah, there was a variety, wasn't there? And then obviously you did work, so you were really an integral part in helping some of the trickier cases where we might have reactivity, or, you know, being there as the person, maybe the first person that the dog has greeted, or and to be that, and so, you know, we really need your help. I mean, I just, as I said, Joe and I, where we're dealing with the people and the dogs, Sean and Kamal had it easy. I know they had
Well,
some
yeah.
of the big dogs, but they still had it easy because they had two of them. Joe and I were by ourselves. So, you know, it was just us dealing with the people and the dog. And so it was a lot of work. So your work was really crucial on there. You said that right to the beginning, day one was kind of like was a lot.
Blur.
Yes, it was. Um, was it everything that you had maybe anticipated it to be? Because you'd also done a stint. I'd also asked you to come and bring your wonderful dog, to help us for It's Meal the Dog, for quite a dog that I was working with that was quite reactive towards other dogs.
Yeah.
And Shane, that was a baptism of fire.
Oh, wasn't it? Wasn't it? Oh, I
Okay.
mean, you know, standing around in the rain compared to, you know, standing on set, it was slightly different. Let's put it that way.
Wasn't it just? It could not, the weather could not have been worse. We are out in this field. Of course, the crew goes, we go to the wrong field, first of all. We go to a wrong field, right? And because we're doing this segment outside, and we're like, where's Shane? Where's anybody? Nope, nobody's here. Okay. Oh, whoops, we got the wrong field. So not my fault. Not my fault. I'm just following blindly in the car. And then we come and get to the right field, and you're standing there, and then the heavens opened.
Didn't they? Didn't they just? But you know, we stood there. We were professional. You know, we worked it through. It didn't affect us, and we got hopefully the solutions we were looking for. It was again, you know, just being able to help you to actually, you know, to understand where you wanted me to be without even you having to say what you wanted me to do. Yeah. And again, it's an understanding from that side of it, from a behavioral point of view, that, we can actually work with each other. We can be across the field. We don't even need to be speaking to each other, but actually, we know that we're going in a rotation or we're going in parallel or, so as I say, that's why hopefully it works so well.
It did. I did find the weather very stressful, because if it's not the optimal for us, certainly not optimal for the dogs. And so when you're trying to do something as tricky as that in a very short space of time, then I definitely found it very it was pretty trying. But yes, as you were great, because I knew that I had somebody really good handling, as it were, the stooge dog, which of course was it was Ernie. No, it was Ernie. And a gorgeous chocolate Labrador who was like, what am I doing here? I'm a lab and I love the rain. I don't care, but this is like, come on. And he was just amazing. He was just an amazing dog. And of course, the dog that I was working with, Bertie, we were able to get actually comfortably close. And I think I that was great. And so tell me about Ernie.
My Ernie. Oh, my chocolate Labrador Ernie. He's just an amazing dog. He's a dog in a million. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I was blessed the day I got him. I say I was blessed the day I got him. I was blessed the day he got through adolescence, because he was an absolute nightmare through adolescence. I'll be honest, he's the dog that had me sitting there, on the sofa going, oh my God, what have I done wrong with my dog? So, he's an amazing dog. He's 12 years old. He's going into retirement soon, because he actually works with me with reactive dogs. He comes to the schools with me with the dog bite prevention work that I do, Bertie, and he just steps in when I need him to, and he's an amazing. He's just fantastic. And obviously, I've got the other two puppies now, and I'm hoping they're going to step into his shoes and let him retire and switch off. Although, as I say, he does love doing these things. I mean, I can leave him go to the Girl Guides and be a tree presentation, be stood there talking to the presenters, turn around and there's Ernie completely, surrounded by children. And I'm like, oh my God, children, come on, out the way. And Ernie's just stood there going, oh my God, this is the best thing in the world. So, as I say, he is a fantastic dog. I just can't fault him in bits.
You have a really good business, Canine Education, and you obviously are a positive trainer. So,
yes,
so you are a VSPDT, and thank goodness. And so tell me, how did you become a dog trainer?
Right. Okay. So obviously I joined the 2016 Victoria Stilwell Academy, the first course in the UK. But how did I make that transition? Well, I was actually working in training anyway. I was training people in commercial training and doing migrations of systems and all that sort of stuff. So a lot different to what I was doing here. But I was working on projects and basically my body failed me. I got stuck in a position like this and I had to have lots of muscle relaxants and stuff like that to try and release it. And I kind of made the decision I couldn't carry on doing what I was doing. There was so much of sitting in front of computers. There was so much of driving and it was all having an effect. So I kind of sat back and went, right, okay, can't carry on doing what I'm doing. What shall I do? And I was umming and ahhing. It was gardening, or shall I go into dog training? Gardening or dog training? Again, not much of a difference, but quite frankly, your course came up. It was the first one that came up in the UK. And having come from a learning and development background, obviously, I was looking at a training course that was a package. I was looking for what would give me the best result from the end of it. And obviously, I went through a number of different ones and the Victoria Stilwell Academy course came out on tops, and that was an in-person one. And
Yeah, I so remember that.
yeah, and I mean, some of the most amazing people there. Obviously Brad and Lisa
Lisa were
Wagner.
there, yeah.
I'm trying to think of all the names. Paul
Paula Bloom
Bloom.
came. Paula
Yes,
was
Sarah
there. Yeah,
Fisher
Sarah
was
Fisher, Sarah
there.
Heath.
Sarah
I
Heath.
know.
All of the big names, and
Yeah.
most of the time you're just sitting there going,
Yeah,
"Oh
right.
my god! Oh my god! No, I can't take any more information. I can't." So
And then, of
yeah.
course, the amazing Joe Pay, who is
Oh
like,
god, yes.
we
Yeah.
can't forget her. She was the main teacher.
Who?
Yeah, right. How incredible she was, and then, of course, the ability of all
Oh,
of our students, all of you guys, to be able to get your hands on dogs, work on dogs.
I
And
mean, for her to
Joe's got
organise all of
such a
that.
phenomenal clientele. She's got
Yeah.
such great clients and such great dogs. So, and do you remember that you? So I had this thing where, no, it's good. Where I had to go and it was at Chester Cathedral.
Oh yes.
Do you remember that? And I had to go and
got his name.
What was his name? Oh no! So it was for the it was for the Soy Dog Foundation, and it was this big kind of carol concert in Chester Cathedral, totally full. Chester's Cathedral's beautiful, and it was completely full. And I was doing a beautiful reading. And along with, some famous guy, and I've forgotten what his name is. Oh, my goodness.
It's gone out my head.
I don't know. And there was Gemma, you, me, and then also...
Yes. Not Cheryl.
No, what are we talking? Seriously, this is called getting old.
Oh God, this is definitely bad.
Okay. Anyway, there was a number of us, and you very graciously came for support. It was an amazing, because it was just before Christmas, and if you can imagine this ancient, massive cathedral, just decked out in Christmas with candles, and it was so beautiful. And so this carol concert for the Soy Dog Foundation it really was a very special evening. And that was whilst we were doing the intensive. And for those of you who are like, well, what is the intensive? Well, it is for the VSA or VSA, the dog trainer course is an online course, but there is an added in-person track that you can add on. And part of that track is where we do a lot of cyber classes. We do virtual intensives now. It's changed a little bit since Shane's time, but we two weekends of virtual intensives, and then we have one long intensive a week where everybody gets together and we work together, and with myself and other faculty and the students. So it really is wonderful. And you were the first class, and we won't talk about the pubs every night after class where people stayed way too long, including, I should say, the faculty.
You lot were the worst.
Way too long. So everybody the next morning's coming to class, starting at 9 o'clock in the morning, absolutely just kind of red-eyed.
Yeah. Being hustled by Victoria Stilwell at the pool table, playing those silly games with that splat cream, whatever that was.
Yes, we did. Oh, no. Okay. So people are listening and going, what is that all about? That was something that I think, was it Jenna, was it Jenny? She bought that. Jenny Beard, was it? She bought that. Yeah. It's a game where if you don't answer right or something, you get splattered in the face with just cream.
Squirty cream.
It sounds odd, but it was so funny. And of course, we are all laughing. We are shutting down the whole hotel. It's not so great.
Well, we took over, didn't we?
We did. And then everyone is just covered in this stuff, including the faculty. And of course, I went to bed. I had nothing to do with it.
Oh, no, not at all.
No. And then we're playing pool. That's what happens at the intensives. We work hard and we play hard. But you came through that, and of course then you became a trainer, and then you trained for quite a few years and then applied to be a VSPDT, and of course we now you're now part of
Yeah.
the team, which is great. So really, really glad. Your journey, though, from how you trained your first dog, Bert, to where you are now, I think is a journey that a lot of people have been on,
Yeah.
especially people that come to my course, or to even I kind of consider myself a sort of semi-crossover trainer, that we've had truly crossover trainers. Tell me about Bert.
So, Bertie was my Red Fox Labrador. Unfortunately, I lost him last year. He had reactivity issues. He didn't particularly like other dogs. Loved people, but didn't like other dogs. And it obviously, we did what we thought we had to do. Before. Don't forget, this is before I became a dog trainer. So, I had no idea that there was different types of dog training, all that sort of thing. And I called in dog trainers, and it involved things like chain bags and spray cans and this, that, and the other.
Chain bags.
Chain bags. So bags of chain that you throw at the floor, throw at the feet.
Yeah.
And this was. This was kind of working with him, and I was going, it's getting worse. It's actually getting worse. And, I noticed our relationship was deteriorating, and I was like, no, this doesn't feel right. And, I started talking to, my friends and, about it. And, they're all like, oh, you just need to toughen up a bit, but I was like, it doesn't feel right. It does not feel right to me. And, so I kind of then started going off in a slightly different tangent all on my own, just kind of, just thinking, right, what else can be done? And then I started finding out about positive dog training versus the other type.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously back then, we weren't talking balanced dog trainers, it was just all dog trainers. We were all the same,
yes.
As far as the general public were concerned, a dog trainer is a dog trainer. They don't realize that there's this balanced and etc. Anyway. So as I say, I finally made the leap, and I got in touch with a lady called Gemma Ibbotson, who is another of your VSPDTs based up in Sheffield.
Yeah.
And I went to meet Gemma, and we had a session up at, I can't remember what the name of the rescue centre was, and we did some work, etc. And again, he started making progress so much quickly. And, so much quicker, I should say. And, our relationship started getting better, and I was enjoying him again, and, not walking out the door and going, oh my God, what am I going to see when I go out this front door? Is there going to be a corner? Is there going to be another dog there? I'm going to go through that stress, oh my God. But, with Gemma's help, it improved. And, over time, he was able to kind of go, yeah, there's a dog over there. I'm okay with that. Yeah, and that's how, I would have preferred it. I didn't want him to be a social butterfly. I knew he wasn't going to be a social butterfly. But I wanted him to kind of accept the fact that there were other dogs around, and that was exactly what he did. And as I say, that came with Gemma's help. So, and that was kind of my introduction into the positive sort of side of things. And then Gemma mentioned about going to the dog behaviour conference, which was actually up in Lincoln at the time.
Yeah, it was.
So I jumped online and booked my tickets, and I went across to the DBC, and it was just eye-opening. It was like, wow, these people are talking and, in effect, feeling how I'm kind of feeling about dogs. This is how we should be treating them. It felt right. It didn't feel bad in my gut, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, that was kind of the way that I got into it. And, actually to this day, I'm so thankful to Bert. He was an amazing dog. I miss him to this day. In fact, I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about him. But he was just a fantastic dog, and I owe everything to him, because if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be where I am now.
Yeah.
Oof,
yeah. Right. No. Look, Shane, I get it. And of course, look, isn't it amazing? Because she's Gemma Ibbotson. She works in Sheffield. She does a lot of assistance work now, service dog work. And she's been a VSPDT for many, many years. And, she was able to show you a different way that was successful both for you and for Bert. and
Yep.
that you were able to actually, your relationship got better because of it, because you weren't taking that, okay, now I am being that position of like a punisher, and I'm
Yeah.
going to show you with corrective training by doing all of this. It just shows the power of positive training. I want to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'd like to kind of delve a little bit deeper into maybe some of the things that you do that are different to what you did, and kind of the changes that you saw. So when you not chose, but when you were taught in a different way, the changes in the dogs that you were exposed to, obviously it was just Bert at that time, but how that kind of changed you moving forward, and how
Yeah.
you were able to approach dogs when you became a professional. So we will come back just after this message. Are you and your dog struggling with reactivity? You're not alone. The good news is that we've created a completely new approach to managing your dog's reactivity, and it's available for you and your dog right now. Go to positively.com, click Take a Course, and choose Help Stop Reactivity to enroll in this game-changing online course for you and your dog today. That's positively.com. I'm back with Shane Hartshorn. We're talking about all things dog, and about obviously him being you were a regular guardian. You met Gemma Ibbotson. You were like, this is how to train a dog, when you'd previously done things much harsher beforehand. And you decide that this is maybe what you're going to do. You're
Yep.
going to become a dog trainer. How did what you had learned change your attitude towards dogs as a whole?
It changed massively, because again, obviously, I was kind of looking at it from a punitive point of view originally. It was the alpha roles, it was the pinning them to the floor, that sort of thing, and to then start working with Gemma, to then start realizing there is an individual there. There's a dog that is screaming for help, and this is what she was kind of saying to me. He is actually asking for help, and to actually, as I say, just see that he was there, needing me to be, his strength in some respects. So again, just doing little techniques, just complete, polar opposite. He'd look at another dog. Well, previously we were throwing chain bags at his feet every time he looked at another dog. You're not allowed to do that. Bang, chain bags. There's another dog over there. Can you see him? Oh, good boy. What a difference, and what a difference it makes you feel as well. It's not about, just dealing with that behavior. We have to live with those dogs on a daily basis. And what we've got to do is we've got to work out the best way to live with them, the best way for them, the best way for us. And it is a game of give and take. And as I say, Gemma came along, she opened my eyes to all of this. I was like, whoa, right, okay, I need to know more. And I think that's probably partly down to my nature anyway. And that's when, as I say, we started exploring. But it's about relationship with dogs. It's not about do this, do this, do this. It's about, can you do this, buddy? Can you do this? It changes your mindset. And as I say, it's just the only way, as far as I'm concerned, that we should be living with dogs. There shouldn't be any punitive usage nowadays. And unfortunately, there still is.
There still is. It boggles my mind right now, obviously, the whole shock collar debate has already happened in the UK, and Parliament, both the English Parliament and the Scottish Parliament, are talking about potential bans. And in fact, we should have had a ban last February in England. We should have had a ban. Shock collars are banned in Wales. But it just seems like of course, the shock collar industry is a very passionate industry, very loud industry, and with very deep pockets. And they lobby everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
With old, I should say, very kind of old, flawed studies. But anyway, and still, there hasn't been a decision, and it just boggles my mind as why do you think it's acceptable under any circumstances to use a shock collar on dogs? Why on any animal? But why should this even be a discussion? And of course, they bring up this lie. Well, we're the only ones that save dogs' lives. We're the only ones that work with the red zone dogs. We're the only ones that the positive trainers, they just like manage the problem. And then they just like, oh, well, we can't deal with it. And then the dogs get put down or they go to shelters. It is a lie. It is such a lie, but it's almost become one of those, as I call it, sort of Trumpisms, where is don't believe what you see, just believe what I tell you. And so this is almost like become a whole thing. It's a mantra of theirs, of that side, the traditional punitive side, that's all they need to say. Well, we save dogs' life. And it's so ignorant. But for people who don't know, like all these MPs, they don't know about dog behavior. But for people who don't know, it sounds good.
Absolutely.
And it's just like when do they think it's okay to hurt animals in the name of training? And please just be quiet about your freaking prong collars. Being like a mother's jaws telling a puppy off, shut up. And then stop talking about the fact that it just a little tickle doesn't hurt. The reason that the medieval torture device of a prong collar, which looks like a medieval torture device, works is because it causes the dog pain. Done. Enough. The reason why shock collars work is because it causes the dog supreme pain and discomfort. That's it, period. There's no discussion whether you use it for negative reinforcement or positive punishment with the shock collar and the prong collar. That there it is. But it's such well, it's just a tap, it's just a stim, and you know what it is? It's all freaking noise and bullshit. But they get to these people who don't know. So then here we are, still way down the line with the UK not having made the decision to ban bloody shock collars. It is time.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, they why they're still around to this day, I do not know. They are not needed in the name of training. They are abusive. And at the end of the day, I think it's the fact that the person at the other end of that bloody button feels like they've got some power over that animal. And why would you want to do that? You know, it completely baffles me why anybody would want to intentionally abuse a dog. You know, and actually they put it out there on social media. Yeah, they promote it. Why? Because it works. But it works because it's all punishment. And people don't realize that. And as I say, unless you come from the training industry, you're not going to know that there is this positive and this balanced. I hate the term balanced. I'm sorry, but we've got to get rid of that.
Balance. That's such a stupid word.
Yeah, it's
not. It's just a stupid word.
Why don't we just call them abusers?
It's not balanced, because if you're using punishment in a way that's going to cause the dog fear, intimidate the dog, or cause pain, it's not balanced at all. It's abuse, plain and simple. So, and we're not saying, and again, that's the other thing, well, you never say tell dogs no. Of course we tell dogs no. Of course we build boundaries. Of course we do that. But we teach dogs, and all kinds of dogs, all breeds, all kinds of issues. And we save dogs' lives. Positive trainers are saving dogs' lives every day. And these dogs are not living day after day under the threat of you do something wrong and this is going to happen to you.
Yeah.
The ones that are trained positively are not living under that threat, because pain works, right? It's the same if you're living in a household where somebody is going to hurt you potentially. Well, what are you going to do? That's going to suppress your behavior, isn't it? It's the same thing.
I had exactly that sort of case the other week. I walked into somebody's house. I'd been called in for this dog. It was reactive. It had bitten a few people, including one of the owners. And it turned out that they'd had a balanced dog trainer in previously, and this dog now, every single time that the male guardian walked into the room, the dog cowered. I was like, "Did you notice that?" And the dog cowered. And then when I started delving deeper, they'd been using these things, and they actually pulled out this shot collar, and I felt like crying. I really did. I just felt so sorry for this dog. They obviously didn't keep it. It's at the bottom of my dustbin.
Yeah, right. Good.
But I'm very much, no, come on, give it to me. I'm taking it. You're not using this again. This is not right. Yeah, obviously that particular dog has started making a few improvements already. We've started turning things around. Instead of the dog cowering, the owner, the owner's walking into the room after about 4 or 5 days now. And the dog's already kind of going, "Oh, hi, it's you," not, "Oh my God, it's you."
Yeah.
And again, it's just watching and listening to that body language. Dogs talking to us all the time. The problem is we don't listen. And then what we do is we turn around and we zap them because they don't do what we're telling them, but they're already communicating something to us.
And when you said, the dogs that you're working with, and also Bert, like, he was crying out for help. He's shouting at the other dog because he doesn't want the other dog around him. He's not a social butterfly. He does not want that. And he needed help. And instead, what's he getting before you were enlightened, right?
Yeah.
He's getting punished for needing help.
Yeah, this is exactly it. And as I say, unless you know behavior, unless you started studying it, I don't think you actually realise and say that there is these polar opposites in working with dogs. Yeah, as I say, the whole industry, I think, from a whole, just needs to be revised anyway. Obviously, the UK Dog Charter, etc. It's all needed because we've got to get some sort of regulation, some sort of legislation, so that we can start wheedling out, get people upskilled. We know from a science point of view that actually we don't need to be using punishment. It baffles me. It really does that we're still talking about this, I started, let's say, back 10 years ago now, and we're still talking about it today in the same sort of senses, and we're still nowhere further.
Literally, the only thing I'd say that has changed is that there are more and more trainers out there teaching in the right way. And obviously VSA being a school, thousands of people have come through our school now. VSA is nearly 10 years old. So it is 10 years old. Thousands of trainers have come through and now are in their communities in different countries teaching in the right way, as well as, trainers going through other schools, getting a positive education and going and doing that. So that's why things are there. There is access. And because of the Dog Behavior and Training Charter in the UK, that when you go on there, that there's membership organizations, they have to adhere to a very high standard of ethics, and where, again, the dog's well-being, the dog's welfare, that is of primary importance. And so we're trying, because can you get, you need a license to cut hair, but you don't need a license to go be a dog trainer. That's what the industry still is, because, Shane, we are not seen still as I think a serious industry. We're not.
I totally agree with you. Do you know what I find really frustrating? And actually, this will probably back this up. I was on a website the other week. I was putting in my job description and all that sort of stuff. They bring those drop downs down.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Which industry do I fall in? None of them.
Wow.
They don't even include us in things. It's not like, and yet we are having an impact on the general public. We're having an impact on people's families. And
people's lives, right. Safety.
Yeah.
We're having an impact on safety. And how much, regardless of whether you've got a dog or not, how many dogs are there in the United Kingdom? 9 million, 10 million now?
Something like that, I think so,
Maybe even more, I think. There's a lot of dogs. So I always say, if people don't have dogs, you better hope that that dog's okay, because it's going to be around your kid. And having when I when my daughter was young, and of course it's all about play dates, right? I knew that when kids came over to my house, I knew my dogs, right? And so, but I still managed them. Certainly
Yeah.
when they were little ones, my dogs were away, they were safe, and the kids were safe too. And so that was just when I have a lot of little ones running around, that's important. But my daughter going to play dates in other people's houses. And I remember going up to this one house, and I think I was collecting her for something, and there'd been a party there, and I went to go collect her. And as I collected, this dog came to the door and was like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah." And my daughter came out, and I was like, oh my goodness, that was a lesson for me to go, I just put her in that situation, and this dog means business. Now, was seemed to be okay with the kids that were there, but I don't know that. And from then on, I was like, okay, one of the questions that I'm going to ask people is, do you have a dog, or do you have an animal of some kind before my kid goes for a play date?
Yeah. It's doing your checks beforehand. It's the same as us when we go in to do behavioural cases and stuff like that. We send out these great big questionnaires, and they fill all the information out. We are doing our checks. How many dogs there are in the house. Not this one that I'm going to see, but there could be another 4 that's having an impact. It's knowing what you're going and what you're walking into. And obviously, it's exactly the same as it was for you. It's just making sure that safety level is there. And obviously, this is one of the reasons why I work on the Be a Tree program, because at the end of the day, by keeping children safe, I'm keeping dogs safe.
Can you tell me about Be a Tree? Because I used to be a Be a Tree presenter, so I know all about it. But I know that this is under now, Be a Tree is under PPG, isn't it? Pet Professional Guilds. It's run by Nikki Tudge, and then obviously Nathan in the UK. But the Be a Tree.
Yeah, so Be a Tree, it's about teaching children how to stay safe around dogs. And as I say, the reason I wanted to do this was so that I could start, it is about the children at the end of the day, but by teaching children how to interact with dogs correctly, we actually stop dogs being then put into harm's way. We can start going, oh, actually, you can recognize that dog's a little bit nervous. Yeah, are you going to leave it? Yeah, you can leave that child, that dog. Yeah, we'll walk away, shall we? And it's teaching children how to read dogs and listen to that body language. Some very simple things, such as, teaching dogs that, when they come running up, don't run away screaming, which most children do, because actually it's natural. But actually what we do is we teach the children to stay calm. So we start being boring, be boring to the dog, and the dog will go away. And as I say, it's about making sure that we teach those children that this is how we live with dogs nowadays. It's all about body language. I knew nothing about body language when I was an 8-year-old child. If I had, blimey, I couldn't even guess where my relationship would be with my dogs nowadays. Right. So if I was taught at 8 years old, actually, these dogs communicate, I'm getting them in well in advance, so that actually they get a dog when they move out of home, in 10 years, 15 years time. And that dog's, listened to, appreciated, seen as an individual. And as I say, it's about teaching children, how to safely live with dogs and to navigate dogs as well.
I went to a brunch the other day, and it was the day after a celebration. And there was a great party at night. And then the next day was the brunch. And there's a gorgeous golden retriever. Oh, he's the most handsome, beautiful golden retriever. Lots of kids around playing, and he's playing with them. He loves it. And then, it's a lot of play. So these kids are around for a good 2 hours, 3 hours. And then there was this one child who was walking on her hands and knees like a dog, and walking all over the house, like crawling like the dog. And she would not leave the dog alone. And this kid was relentless. And so I looked at it and I was like, where are the parents? Where are the parents? And so I had a little chat with the owner of the dog. And I was like, And she was like, oh, but I think he's fine. He's fine with kids. He just walks away. I was like, he's exhausted and he's not fine. So I think you better tell the parents to stop, just to stop their kid, because he's such an amazing dog, but he might tell her very soon that he's had enough.
Yeah.
And this poor dog was trying to get away. But this is a very educated dog guardian, very educated. Yet she still was saying, no, he can take it. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm telling you, you know who I'm telling you that your dog can't. And even then she was a bit, well, she knows, but even then she was a bit reluctant. And I'm like, come on, seriously. This is, you've got to advocate for your dog here. You do it for your kid if your kid was like enough already.
Yeah.
But you got to do it for your dog too. And so thankfully, but the parents, not a clue. Oh, it's so funny. So funny.
This is it, that dog's still running around. He's getting a little bit bouncier. Oh, he must be getting a little bit touchier. It's like child, like the children that go over, when they don't have enough sleep, they get tetchy. Dogs can do exactly the same. The problem is again, the way that they will communicate that is probably not how the owners or the guardians would particularly prefer that. So
no, they might growl and then get told off, and if they snap, they're going to get told off, and then they bite. Well, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah,
they're going to get told off, and then they'll be like, "Oh my God, the dog bit," and then there's lawsuits and all kinds of things, and then the dog, it's just terrible.
Yeah,
so
if I just say
to never correct the growl, but if anybody is listening to this and you are a parent, or but please be really careful, not just with kids that are coming into your home, but if you have kids and you are sending them off on play dates, be really careful about the homes that your kid is going to, and make sure that the parents understand about dog safety, especially when you've got little ones.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is where your the family dog. I forgot the lady's name.
Justine.
Thank you, Justine.
Sherman's,
yes. Your family dog, Kids Around Dogs, these great organizations that are out there that are actually specifically set up to help families to make sure that they can teach their children and to actually, help them with, their dogs and their children on how to coexist.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. It's so important. Okay. So going back to the Dog Academy.
Oh, yes.
3 things that you learned from the Dog Academy about filming.
Oh my God, about filming. Things that I've learned, or things I should have probably done better?
No. Things you learned about it.
Things I learned. It was very tight scheduled, and a lot of work. That was the biggest thing I learned. I didn't realize how exhausting it was going to be. Sometimes you're on set at 7 a.m. Some nights weren't leaving till 9 o'clock at night, but again, it was the fun. So probably the first one would be, the amount of work that was actually involved. What else on set? Probably, how normal people were. I know it sounds strange, but obviously you look at the whole television industry and you think, it must be this big glamorous industry and everything. No. It wasn't. It was quite normal. So again, I think that was one of my visions kind of out of the way. But the third one, probably just the diversity of all the different cases that we had on there. Yeah. Obviously I can't mention specifics because we're still only halfway through watching the series, but we range from reactivity to OCD behaviors to this. It was, you didn't know what you was going into on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And again, I think that was why it was so much fun.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think as stressful as it was, I think that, a lot of the dogs, they come in and they go, where are we? Yeah. But they really, once they start to enjoy themselves and they start to just, actually, this is fun, and they can run around and they can play. And then we had swimming pools from them and ball pits and you name it. And they're like, oh, actually, this is okay. Yeah. I think that's what I learned. one of the things I learned is, I know dogs are adaptable, but actually I usually go into people's homes and teach their dogs. Dogs don't usually come to a place to learn. And of course, a totally new place, how are you going to do the training if the dog is really, but I was always surprised about how incredible the dogs were, and about how they were like, oh yeah, this is good, let's do it.
Oh, there was a few dogs that, I remember them coming in. I could tell they were quite stressed. Yeah, this new environment. It was quite overwhelming for them. And being handed this dog, and he was like, okay, right, come on then, puppy, let's go. And, to see the dog just come down off that stress level and to go, actually, I'm safe. I'm in a good place. This guy's an idiot, but hey, we're going to have some fun here. And, and as I say, to actually see them transition, to see them change as well through 9 hours worth of, working with, obviously with the main trainers and also with the sport trainers in the background.
Yeah.
And
we're saying 9 hours, not with one dog.
Oh,
we're
God,
not
no.
saying, no.
Not straight through. Not straight through. God,
three.
No, I needed my lunch break for a start.
Yeah. No, of course. And then having 3 cases per day. So that's why days are so long. And, but I mean, it truly was a great experience, wasn't it? And Shane, it was amazing to have you on. Now, if people are interested, they live in your area, where would they go?
Right. Well, I'm based in Leicestershire in England. Basically, if anybody wants to get hold of me, go to my website, www.canineeducation.co.uk.
And that's K and a 9.
Letter K, number 9, education. I don't know if you can see the logo or the name down there. And just get in touch. I'm here to help at the end of the day. That's one of the main things that I've always kind of thrived for. I'm never going to be rich in this industry. You don't make huge amounts of money, but I'm happy and I want to help people and I want people to enjoy their dogs more. Get in touch. I'm around in Leicestershire if you need me.
And you can also see Shane on the Dog Academy. So watch Thursdays, 8 p.m, Channel 4. And then on our one, it's me or the dog, where you saved my life. And on a very, very rainy day. But anyway,
awful.
Shane, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. Absolute pleasure.
Anytime. Thank you very much for having me.
Do you know, it's so lovely because for all of you listeners, when you work on a show and you get to know these people really well. I mean, I know Shane anyway, so I knew that he would be a great support trainer. But when it becomes family, and so it's lovely to come back and have a chat and just hang out and say hi and just relive those days. So isn't it fantastic? Anyway, so thank you so much, and thanks guys for listening. Really appreciate your time. I hope that you've enjoyed this podcast, and I will see you again on the next one. Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to Victoria Stilwell's Positively podcast. For Victoria's online dog training courses, more information, and helpful dog training tips, visit Victoria's official website at positively.com. Get connected on Facebook, Instagram, and other social media as Victoria Stilwell, and follow her on Twitter at Victoria S. Learn to become a professional dog trainer with the Victoria Stilwell Academy at vsdogtrainingacademy.com. And be sure to tune in next time as Victoria helps you and your dog live your best life together, positively.